Hi everyone and welcome back. This week we're going to cover some of the information needed to understand the purpose behind challenging behavior. It's part one of two that we will be covering over the next 2 weeks. And the idea here is to begin to provide some of the skills that we need to implement a process of positive behavior support. Positive behavior support, or I'll probably call it PBS. Don't get that confused with the public broadcast system. I'm referring to something else. PBS was developed to address the intervention needs of children with the most challenging behaviors. Note that the full process of PBS is pretty elaborate, thorough, and definitely very effective. It's not a process that you would use with every child in your classroom who has behavioral concerns. It's really for the child whose challenging behavior continues after you've tried prevention approaches and developmentally appropriate child guidance procedures. And we've talked about those previously in class. So today, I'm going to be talking about how challenging behaviors occur and are maintained through environmental factors. I'm also going to discuss a method you can use for analyzing challenging behaviors as they occur within natural contexts that might be used to identify the purpose of the challenging behavior that's happening. So as we go through today, you're going to see some video clips interspersed with these lecture slides that will provide some context for practicing these methods. And finally, we're going to learn how to use multiple sources of data to determine the function of challenging behavior. And you're going to have an opportunity to apply these skills throughout the assignments this week, where you do a practice observation card, you are going to do some practice behavior equations, and then you're going to end up writing a hypothesis statement for why challenging behavior occurs. And then we'll pick up next week and begin to think about strategies for supporting these children once we've identified what's being communicated here. Here are some topics that we're going to cover this week in class. You will understand the difference between PBS and traditional discipline approaches, or at least I hope so. In addition, you're going to identify and you're going to define some forms and functions of communication, and then identify the behavioral mechanisms that contribute to viewing challenging behavior as communicative. You're going to describe methods that might be used to determine the function behind challenging behavior, and you're going to be able to use interview and observational data to determine the communicative function of challenging behavior and think about the very early steps of developing a behavior hypothesis. So I'm going to talk about all of these things, this whole process of positive behavior support, or PBS, and how it can be used to address the needs of children with the most persistent challenging behaviors in your classrooms. So again, what are we referring to when we say challenging behavior? So challenging behavior is any repeated pattern of behavior that interferes with learning or engagement in pro-social interactions with peers or adults. It is behaviors that are not responsive to the use of developmentally appropriate guidance procedures, things you would normally try in class with other children. And they might look like prolonged tantrums, physical and verbal aggression, disruptive vocal and motor behavior, property destruction, self-harm, non-compliance, withdrawal. Any of these things are signs of persistent challenging behavior. All right, so I'm going to stop here, and in the next short video clips, you're going to take a look at some of these kinds of behaviors that can be addressed by the PBS process.